Okay? But anyway, let's look at some of the other things that are in this particular thing, because this is, again, these are some very common things that you'll see. Okay? So, Sam, would you read that paragraph and let's look at some of the things that are in that.
Maintenance requirements?
In the limitations.
This service contract covers product failures occurring during normal use. It does not cover misuse or abuse of the product during delivery, installation, or setup adjustments. It does not cover damage that occur while adjusting consumer controls, loss of data, or program support, unauthorized repair, customer response to specification changes, cosmetic damage, or any simple maintenance as recommended by product owner's guide. It also does not cover repairs that are necessary because of improper installation or improper electrical connections. Consequential or incidental damage is not covered. Damage due to acts of God is not covered.
Okay, so you see, it does not cover damage. So there's a list of damage. It does not cover damage. Damage that occurs while adjusting controls, loss of data or programming, unauthorized repair, customer-sponsored specification changes, cosmetic damage, or simple maintenance. Okay, so any damage you cause in this, it says it's not covered. Any damage your friend Steve causes because he says he can fix it, they don't cover either. If you let Steve try and fix it and he breaks it, then they don't cover that. Steve's going to be buying you a new one. Yeah, exactly. Okay? And they also talk about damage, and they also talk about this word normal use, and the opposite of normal use, then they also mention is maybe improper use or abuse. Okay? Improper use or abuse.
How do they decide what normal use is?
That's really up to them. That's really up to them. Now, sometimes they explain what normal use is. Sometimes you as a consumer are going to have to interpret that. Okay? But, okay, as an example, I have an iPhone. This iPhone is meant to be used as a communication device, as an iPod. Okay? It's not meant as a Frisbee. If I use it as a Frisbee, that is not normal use, okay, for this.
But
now,
that's
it's another app. Now that's an extreme example, but I'll give you a more practical example because I'm a baseball, softball player. Okay, I purchase softball bats. Okay, periodically. I haven't purchased one in a couple of years, but I buy them periodically. Now most softball bats come with a year warranty. They will repair like dents and other like minor defects, whatever else, up to a year. Okay, they'll cover like if there's like a structural thing, they'll cover it longer than a year. It just depends on it. But I mean, but most of the bat covers is covered for a year. If it breaks within that year, I can get a replacement free of charge. I send it to them. I pay shipping and handling. They send it back to me. Okay, a brand new one. Now, that's with normal use. Now, there's a number of ways I can void that warranty so I don't get another backpack. One of them being I have Steve pop it open, shave the sides so I can make it an illegal bat so the ball comes off harder, and now it decreases the durability of my bat because I've altered it. Okay, that's one thing I've done. Okay, that's something I've directly done. But now I own a batting cage. I bought a number of bats I want to use in my batting cage. Okay, that's not normal use because those bats are being used repeatedly and constantly, and that's not what they're designed for. They're designed for an individual to own it, for an individual to practice, and an individual to play. Okay? If I'm using it as a practice bat where 15 to 20 people a day are using the bat walking off the street, and they're putting thousands of swings in a day, that is not what the bat's designed for. So they do not cover that because that's not considered normal use of the bat. The normal use of the bat is one purchaser, one owner, one practice, one play. Yes?
How do they know, like, if you're doing it wrong enough?
With that, they know. Because there's certain types of damage, and they can also, there's things that they can tell that it's been used and abused and how much it's been abused. Because again, there's a normal wear and tear. There's normal wear and tear, and if you've been beating that bat up, they can look at the insides and they can see that's not normal wear and tear. This bat, which is only 6 months old, looks like it's 4 years old. And that shouldn't happen. So they can kind of tell because especially in today's modern bats, which are carbon fiber composites, because the carbon fibers break, and so they can tell. Yeah.
Like also whatever the thing like sometimes you see in a movie or some show or something, they use a bat and use it on somebody.
That's not normal use either. Mafioso using a bat on someone's head is not normal use. Please do not expect them to honor that particular warranty. Also expect that bat to be submitted for state's evidence. Okay, so moving on, some other things that you might see. Okay, some other things that you might see. Then it says maintenance requirement. Okay? Now, if they have the word requirement in it, that's something you have to do. If you do not do it, the warranty is not valid. Okay? The requirement is about you. It's about what you have to do. So, Taylor, what is the maintenance requirement? What's the requirement they tell you that you have to do?
The purchaser must maintain the product in accordance with the requirements or recommendations set forth by the manufacturer to keep the service contract in force. Evidence of proper maintenance and or service when acquired by the administrator must be submitted to validate a claim.
Okay, and, oh wow, they even include evidence. Okay. Okay, you might see this word too in some warranties where they want evidence or proof. Okay, so they're saying, as the manufacturer says, this is recommended maintenance for this, you need to do it. If you're not doing it, it voids the warranty. Now, maybe that doesn't really apply to your all sound extended service contract, but what is a product, a rather major product that most people own or buy? If they buy it new, if they don't service it or take care of it, it will break, and they will be responsible for what happens because they broke it. Something that most adults... Car.
Oh.
When you buy the car, they tell you the recommended mileage you need to have regular oil changes. Okay? And they can tell. They can tell when it's been serviced. They can tell how often it's been serviced because, again, there's certain things over time that are supposed to happen and aren't supposed to happen. Okay, if there's a certain type of buildup in your car after 40,000 miles, okay, it may demonstrate to them that you've only serviced it like 2 or 3 times during that time period, and you have seriously damaged the vehicle because of it. Okay, because you haven't had the oil filter changed, you haven't had the air filter changed, so you're screwing up your car because you're not maintaining it with what is prescribed. Does that mean that if they say you have to get a change every 3,000 miles and you do it every 5,000 miles, does that mean in today's cars that doesn't mean a whole lot of difference? In today's cars you can go a little bit longer, but they can tell if you're not doing it at all. But if you get it done, you know, if you're 1,000 miles over, they're not going to be able to tell that and you're still taking care of the car, and the car's really not going to break because of that. But if you're just not doing it at all, okay, or not doing it more than, you know, every once a year or twice a year, and you're just throwing extra oil in when you run out of oil, they're going to know. Okay, and that will void the warranty. They will say, we're not fixing that because you broke that, not us.
Is a car better on gas when you stay up to date with all this stuff? Like,
Theoretically.
does that matter?
Theoretically.
Oh.
Theoretically, well, when your car runs clean, especially when your car runs clean, and it doesn't have a whole lot of, you know, issues and gunk and stuff like that, it will run, just get a little bit better gas mileage. It's all theoretical, but it also keeps the parts longer. Because I mean, you don't change the oil and you don't even think about the oil, you destroy the engine. Because if there's no oil or there's very limited amount of oil, you can get to a point where the engine seizes up. And when the engine seizes, you're buying a new one. There's no fixing that. Because it seizes and it throws the rods and the rods break parts of the engine and it's all just very nasty. I've done it, I know.